thank you, Allie, for giving me the intro to the bad, poor, sassy women down south. I thought I was going to have to follow, an English accent and a dragon, which I was worried about. So, yeah, you brought the two down. So this novel, this Earth You'll Come Back To, is the story of a mother and daughter. And as Peg said, it's a story, well, she didn't say it, but she hinted that it's a story of a daughter who left home very early, left the Midwest, and comes back after her mother has died to the Midwest. The two women are trying to sort out what it is that they've missed in living the rest of their lives far apart. A common, I think, American conundrum. And so the story is told from the voice of Rose, who is the narrator, and told not exactly in chronological order, but through scenes of her life that she is relaying to her daughter. Of course you, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is Arrival, 2008, Blanchardville, Ohio. Of course you couldn't find it right away. It's not so easy. Well, with all the names and pathways, if you're not familiar with the layout to begin with. Not in the heat of July. Still, there was no need for you to carry on like that, walking around half crying and stumbling sorry for yourself because you couldn't see it right away. You should have used the sense God gave you and asked your brother. He could have drove you right into the place. I don't know why you had him drop you off downtown. Walking all the way out here by yourself in the blazing crown of the day. You must have come out by West Main Crossing. There's not a bit of shade out there now. They took the maple trees out to build the parking lot for the church. Took down Grandma's old house too. That about broke my heart. Must be more than 2 miles. Don't you have a hat? Why you always insist on making things hard for yourself, I'll never know. But it's just like you. Take a simple errand, turn it into a full-blown crusader pilgrimage. Well, there's not another soul around today. Just the old maples with their green overall, the grass and the flower pots next to the American flags, and you, my daughter, walking in a circle, trying to find a landmark you recognize, reading all the names of the people you went to school with, their grandparents, parents, uncles, names you haven't thought of for 30-odd years since you left here. All those names you used to hear in the daylight of desk rows, deep in the rapture of childhood. Wiseline, Frankhauser, Riley, Lynch, Slawinski. Each name ringing out with a voice around it, ringing up days in which the names were spoken. And all those days, stretching back until you feel the beginning of your life, and the end too. It comes over you all of a sudden that you're leaving here and living in California all of those years, the stories you wrote or didn't write will never matter at all. Because you know, you can't get away from this. This earth, you'll come back to right here. You feel its pull, it's not a bad feeling. Oh, the earth is the same worth anywhere it lies. And that is a comfort to you, I know. Everything we ever tried or said or dreamed, every finger, backbone, jaw, falling down here like leaves. As if the ground itself were made of our passing lives, compacting into the dark soil of time. Now you're feeling sorry for yourself and getting all upset because you can't find your own mother's grave. Well, you can't find anything with your eyes blurred by tears. I'm right behind you, but you keep going the wrong way around. Oh, I know when you came today, you've been thinking how you miss being with your mother your whole life, and now it's too late. Seems like you've already decided that's the tragedy you're working up to tell, how we lived and died so far from each other. But I was there, all along. What are you, around 47 now? All swept up in grief and regret about what you haven't managed to do, and now you've decided our distance was the reason? Maybe you could explain why you weren't here until the end of the funeral. not to keep harping on that. It's just that there's two sides to every story. That's kind of the intro to Mother and Daughter. And in honor of Rhyme and Reason, I want to read a couple sections from Rose's narrative. I was interested in the rhyme and reason of how we come to inhabit the same place over time in really different ways. And this is some scenes from Rose's life and her life in the Midwest. This is probably better. It was just the winter following the summer I met your father, 1941. I had gotten this job at Ohio Bell and had been promoted to long-distance switchboard supervisor, headquarters up on Main Street. Those days, we sat in front of a big board full of circuits, had a row of little sockets with lights above them to show what circuits were free. You took a line from one side, then put it on the open socket to connect the call. But like I said, there were very few calls that day. I was sitting there looking out the window, watching a fireman on a ladder hanging up the Christmas wreaths over the street. Then all of a sudden, the whole board just started buzzing and lighting up like fireworks on the 4th of July. Every circuit blinking and buzzing. I didn't know what had happened. I tried to put a call through, but all the lines were busy. Wasn't anything I could do. Betty Riley was there. It was just she and I up front. What in the world? What do you think it is, Rose? Well, the equipment must have gone haywire. I don't know what to do, Rose. She got all upset, waving her hands around, all flustered and pulling back from the board like it was going to come after her. I don't know what to do. Now just sit down, Betty, I said. It's not going to all blow up, is it, Rose? No, it's not. Maybe Roosevelt died. He's been sick. Oh, no. We went through each wire we could. All circuits are busy. Please try your call again. Mrs. Wilson, the manager, came in from the back about 5 minutes later. We knew it was serious when she came in, because she was a fat lady who never got out of her chair. Oh, girls, she said, say your prayers. The Japanese have attacked us. We couldn't believe it. In Hawaii, she said. Well, that was cold comfort. We knew it was far away, but Betty burst into tears and said, I want to go home to Mama. Mrs. Wilson said, you will, Betty, right after your shift is finished. And she sat her right back down. Well, we were busy all night, see. At that time, we didn't know. Nobody knew if they were going to attack somewhere else or what. We stuck it out. Next morning, of course, all the papers had the story. And that evening was busy at Dad's bar, Healy's bar, it was called then, on Main Street. Well, it was just the thing to do in an emergency. Go get a drink. We all went, all the regulars there. Everyone had their opinion. We ought to go in there, have the whole thing over within a month or two, mop up the whole shebang. Stranahan, the mailman, he was a loudmouth, started pontificating. Suppose your neighbor sneaks in your back door, takes your wife and kids. He can take mine, Bill Walsh says. Now, Walsh, I'm on the level here. It's a dirty, underhanded thing to do. So that was in 1941. And in 1970, Rose tells a story about the same location. It's my rhyme and reason for the night. So 1970, Blanchardville. I've known Mildred Walsh for 10 years, and I never did like her. When I was working for the answering service over on Lima Avenue there, she was the front desk girl. Sorry. Could never stand the way she smiled and nodded her head whenever her husband Frank said a word, with her tight little curls and false eyelashes. Has an eagerness, reminds me of a poodle on a leash. Rusty's been out of work all summer. Irony is, he's sober now, but lost so many jobs that he can't just walk into another. Lucky if he ever works again. Couldn't even pay the rent this month, and 6 children to get ready for school. I don't have money to buy a piece of notebook paper, let alone shoes. I don't know what else to do but go to the county, so I call. And just my luck to get Mildred. Talk about adding insult to injury. Well, wouldn't you know, county office was there in the old phone company building on Hardin Street. It's all been redone to where you wouldn't recognize it. I don't know what I expected. Some trace of the old switchboard or the offices above that. And she used to look out over the floor, but not a trace of anything left from the time I worked here. Bell starts ringing when I come through the door. Sounds like a warning. What a dark little waiting room. And who should be there but Mr. Doolittle, sitting there in his overalls with his head against the wall snoring. Just my luck to get in there with Mr. Doolittle. All my girls think the family is named Doolittle after the story. They think he talks to animals. I wonder who the receptionist is. Looks like one of the Lynch girls. Hello, I have an appointment with Mildred Walsh.
Was that in family assistance?
She says it like I couldn't possibly remember. Yes, it was.
Mildred's in the first door on the left. You can go ahead in.
Wasn't this hallway even here when I worked here? What ugly wood paneling. Cheap framed pictures of the county commissioners and the mayor shaking hands with LBJ. Must not have known LBJ was a Democrat. Doors open, of course. She's doing her nails. Hello, Mildred.
Hello, Rose. So nice to see you. You come right in here and sit down. You must be awful tired.
How would you know what I am, Mildred? Don't dare say it, of course. I'm fine, thank you.
So let me get your file out. You're here to see what we can do in the way of county relief. Well, I can imagine with all those children, this must be very difficult for you. Now, how's your husband? Rusty? He's such a nice man. Haven't seen him out at the golf course lately. You know, he and my Frank used to golf together.
He's fine. He's had some trouble finding work.
I see that here on your form. Now, you haven't paid your rent this month?
Says it like I'm a misbehaving child. That's right, Mildred.
How much is it you normally pay? When you do pay, I mean.
$200.
Goodness gracious. I didn't know you could still rent a house for that price.
You don't know anything, Mildred, so I'm really not surprised. I guess it isn't much unless you don't have it. Best try to be light or I'll turn on her.
I understand. Now, how many children exactly do you have?
She asked me, gripping her pencil in her blood-red talons. How many children exactly? Like I usually just estimate. Or like I might not know. 7 still at home.
That's right. That's what it says here. Oh, I bet you have your hands full. That must be hard with 3 boys, too.
Have to bite my tongue not to turn on her. What is hard, Mildred, is having to sit here and share the difficulties of my life with the likes of you, who has never read a book in your life and can't think beyond your fingernails. It's hard to sit in this chair across the table from you in this building where I used to manage 15 women and be asked asinine questions, while you sit there like Lady Catherine de Bourgh in Pride and Prejudice, like it's your money you're giving away. I know it's not charitable. I'm sure Mildred tries, but it's just about more than a soul can bear. Doesn't see Rusty at his golf game. If he would sell his golf clubs, we could get a week's worth of groceries, but the idea would never cross his mind.